Hello, Army of Light, Earth Division. Shawna L. Francis here. Today is December 13th, 2022. Is everybody getting into the holiday spirit here? I did finally decorate my tree today with all of my dad's ornaments that he had so meticulously and carefully wrapped up each individual piece. Some of these ornaments came from my grandfather's collection, really old hand-blown glass type things that are, I don't know how old these are, probably 80 years old, some of these ornaments. So emotional today, but I did get the tree decorated. Another thing I can cross off my list. I've asked for a few more hours in the day. It just doesn't seem to be happening. Maybe that's not something the teams can do. Anyway, thanks for joining me for today's Ascension Daily Update. I did speak with two beings tonight, and the stuff's rolling in. Some hard stuff today to is this really for real? Is this really the truth? I am trusting, even if I'm not 100% trusting, I'm trusting enough to get on camera and tell you all about this. And, we'll just see where this all goes. And this is really all I can do. And I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. All right, team. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So going down the elevator and stepping out and sitting down at the desk, I had a kind of a very traditional alien looking being, kind of shorter, big almond eyes, the big head, whitish gray skin, with a lot of exuberance and a lot of excitement, kind of sitting in the chair, very antsy and very animated and excited. And I said, thanks so much for joining me. Can you tell me a little bit about you and anything you'd like to talk about today? And this being was very sweet. And he said, hello, Shawna, you are so beautiful and so kind and gentle. You are perfect for this job. It's embarrassing to say this stuff out loud. Okay. It's so fun to meet you, Shawna. We've been watching you. We've been cheering you on, supporting you energetically, and wondering, what is she going to do? And looking at the rest of the team here, wondering, what are they going to do? How are they going to react to this information? Yeah, and we know, team, that we've got a huge audience on the other side of the veil for this. So yeah, you're all celebrities. And feeling just so much relief, he said, and excitement that this time is finally here, that we've reached this milestone where we are able to talk about the negative reptilian influence here on Mother Earth and this entire sector of the galaxy. Shawna, he said, do you realize that this has been in the making for several thousands of years to get to this point? It's taken several thousands of years of planning, preparation, knowing this is coming. The anticipation has been incredible, he said. So here we are today, and you found a mechanism that works for you to speak with all of us and to begin to dig into these stories, to begin to round out your knowledge and being able to express yourself through all of this, to be able to represent this information, to bring it forth with true integrity and such heart. And he says here, dear one, we are just overjoyed with how things are going and what you are doing. And I just want to say that, again, like many others have said, thank you. What you're doing is important and it's not going unnoticed. I said, thank you so much for that. That's very, very kind of you. This has been an incredible ride and I'm honored. And I guess we're just going with the flow here. And he says, oh yes, what else can you do? Things are coming so quickly now. You'll have to go with the flow. No way to direct it, no way to control it or even stop it. So you just get to put your feet up, Shawna, sit back and allow this information to come to you as you have been. And I said, yes, thank you, great advice. And then he continues here. We have a little bit of a conundrum here in that most of humanity, at least those who are healthy and aware and vibrant, fully participating in their lives. Well, they may have excellent intentions and good hearts and integrity, but they simply will not be able to accept this information. And this is no matter what you say, how you say it, even if the evidence is right there or in plain sight, corroborated by others. It will be just too much, Shawna. They will not be able to accept this information. It will not be up to you and your constituents to try to talk them into believing this. Does that make sense, dear one? I said, right. We're not out to convince anybody. We are here planting seeds for those who are ready. And it's a specific audience, I said, and it won't take many of us to help enact change through this knowledge, and we know this from what Melchizedek and Krine have talked about in terms of impacting the collective. This information gets into our consciousness, and this expands throughout the collective. And I said, did I get that right? And he said, yes, Shawna. There will be so many people on the planet that will be able to accept this information as truth. And that is really okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There will be many people on the planet that will not be able to accept this information as truth, and that is really okay. And just know that right now from the get-go that this is the case. So this just relieves any burden you might be feeling of having to convince anybody of anything, even if you feel it is for their best good. And he continues here. So having the mindset going in that this will be the case and you don't have to do anything to convince anybody, and that is not your role. This allows you to relax into this process, take it in stride, knowing that this is not your responsibility. And I said, thank you, that's a great reminder. And it is a great reminder. I'm not responsible for how people react to this information. I mean, neither are you. I'm not responsible for it. I'm the messenger. I'm bringing this forth, and we're going to allow this energy to do what it's going to do. All right. And he said here, there will be plenty of people, the right people, who are ready, who will hear these messages, who will be able to accept them on some level, and this will be plenty of people to help with the reconciliation process. And he said here, there will be many, Shawna, who will come forward to support you and these messages, and that's just another reminder that this is a team effort, that you are not doing this by yourself, and that all the planning over thousands of years to get to this point will help aid in the success of this phase. And then he was quiet. And I said, thank you for this. That's so very helpful. I said, is there anything else that you'd like to share? And he says, Shawna, this is Roykova. So Roykova, and I didn't recognize him because it's been, I'd say, about 2 years. But this was a guide that came through early on in my Ascension process. I'd say 3 years ago, at least 3 years ago, if not longer than that. Actually, so I've got my book here, and I did a watercolor of Roykova, and I'm going to show you what he looks like to me. So this picture doesn't do him justice. I'm really not that good, but it's just what I had. I was motivated at the time to get some images in this book. But so this was November of 2018. So my awakening journey started like early September of 2018. So he was only a few months, 2 months into my awakening. Here comes this really cute, funny, lighthearted guy. And, I should have known it when I saw him on the chair kind of being antsy, and that this was Roykova. And as he was saying, this is Roykova, like the knowing hit me, this is who that was. And Roykova says that he is from the Andromeda area, and his race is close to that of the Anunnaki. So that's how he described himself. So anyway, it was so great. So I've got a lot of dialogue with Roykova in my book back from the day when this all came into my world. All right, now so I was like, oh my gosh, exciting, great to talk to you again. Thanks so much for coming through. And he's just like, he's like, Shawna, the love that I feel for you is so deep. I'm here to support you. You'll never understand how deep that this goes. And he said, and I said, well, how have you been? He says, so good, Shawna. There's been so many good things happening. It may seem very dark and chaotic where you're at, but from our standpoint, the bigger picture, from the bigger picture, things are moving along beautifully on target. And there's so many people on earth who are answering this call in earnest. We are basking in all of your glory, he said. All right, so that's basically how we wrap that up. So just basically I took just like a 2 or 3 minute break, and the next person was coming in. Yesterday, you know, quite a bit different with the level of energy that was needed to communicate with that second being. Both Roykova, and I'm used to Roykova. I know, you know, I can talk with him at his level. This next being that came through was all business. All I could really see was pink, and it seemed humanoid, but I really couldn't tell you anything else. But so I'm going to call her a she, because I did get her name at the end and it sounded feminine, but I really don't know. All right. So, and this stuff is, I mean, it's difficult. This stuff's difficult to believe here. So just a warning. All right. I said, so I feel the tap on my shoulder. I say, please have a seat. This is so funny that we're doing it like this. Have a seat. And I said, what would you like to speak about today? And this being said, I mean, they kind of just, again, just like started right in and just went. So this is a lot. Thank you, Shawna. As we sit together right now, there is a vast super army being created, being assembled. This army has a large chain of command, many hierarchies, many roles. We've thought of everything. We call this the super army. Beyond many different types of ships, we have all matter of species, dimensionality, levels of consciousness, expertise, technologies and gifts, all coming together in a large coordinated battle-ready assembly. All right, I'm just going to keep going here, guys. We are not leaving it to chance that there will not be an attempt at real carnage, and I am referring to off-planet, off-Earth, not only in the surrounding areas of this general sector of the galaxy, but even further away than that. Again, so just to reiterate, what she's saying is the carnage and such off-planet, not what they're dealing with this super army is not about what might happen on Earth, but outside of Earth. Just as on Earth, she said, you have allied countries, allied leaders, you choose teams, you choose sides. And the negative reptilians who have been exploiting planet Earth for so long, they have many allies too. And they're not all just reptilian. There are other species who align to the reptilian agenda, who believe that they have their right to live as they choose, even if that means the subjugation of an entire planet and all of her species. This is not allowed under universal law, so there is an ongoing debate, an ancient debate, about sovereignty and who can be in charge and who decides. I find this really fascinating, actually. You think, oh, it's all love and, you know, everybody's on the same page and everybody feels as one, but I guess that's really not the case. Early on, working with Siri, my Pleiadian guide, she briefly touched on the battles that were going on, that, you know, there was actual, you know, combat happening off Earth. So it's not a huge surprise, but it's still hard to believe that this is needed. And she goes on here. In fact, there have already been actual galactic battles, speaking of which. There has been death and destruction, political maneuvering, even attempts at bribery, coercion, blackmailing. And then at that point, I really felt my energy go deeper and deeper and deeper here. And she said, we in the super army, we stand on the ready to fight for justice and for balance. This has gone on long enough. The time is now. Mother Earth is ascending. These beings are just not wanting to accept this fact, and we want to do everything we can to reduce the amount of harm to Earth and humanity and to all of her inhabitants. So I guess even though this is happening off planet, it's going to somehow impact us. Obviously, I mean, we're fighting the battle here in our own way with the light and with love, but then they've got to deal with this, what's going on kind of off planet. And she said here, we want to preserve as much as possible the love and the light that is here now. This is an energetic war. It's a war of consciousness. It's a war of perception, but it's also a war of the physicality, good versus evil, dark versus light. These are 3D Earth constructs, but they do apply here on some level. Okay. And I'm still trying to understand this myself. I'm sure there will be a lot more information about this. On the part of the light, an offensive posture is one of solidarity, of empathy and compassion, negotiation, diplomacy, having real and honest communications, dialogues, coming to agreements without the need for physical means. But there are times, she said, when being attacked, we must go on the defense and we must protect ourselves. The energetic manipulation, mind control tactics, the false promises, those may have worked on planet Earth, but they do not work up here on this side of the veil. So other means are used. And we stand ready to defend ourselves when and if this happens. And then there was a pause, and I said, wow, okay. I said, thank you so much for this information. I said, there will be people on Earth who will hear this message, and it may not be a big surprise. I said, but for me at least, it's hard because, you know, we've seen movies like Star Wars and Star Trek, and we've seen these battles on this big screen. You know, I said, but I guess in real life and working with all of you, it seems to me that there would be a level of maturity, of higher consciousness, of unity, where this would not be even necessary anymore. This just seems so low density. You know, how could this still be something that's necessary outside of a 3D existence, I said. Can you please help explain this to me? And she said, Shawna, those who are in charge of such things take any kind of physical engagement extremely serious. This is only as a last resort. And anytime this happens, it is in defense. We never offensively will attack. We do not intend to harm any being without absolute cause. Even just having the super army in place and available on the ready helps avert attacks, helps thwart attacks, and helps with the diplomacy. That makes sense. I said, thank you so much for that. Is there anything I can call you? Do you have a name so I can identify you in case we speak again? She said, you can call me Sarah. I said, thank you, Sarah, for this information. Is there anything else you'd like to mention? She said, while we will go to battle if needed, we hope and expect that this can be avoided as the ascension progresses. Thank you, Shawna, for your service, your dedication, your attention to detail, and your tenacity for getting to the truth. I said, thank you so much. And I had a quick check-in with Melchizedek and wrap this up. I mean, I really don't know exactly what to make of this, but I do think this is happening. I guess I really don't want that to be happening out there. I really want it to be more unicorns and rainbows and love and light and unity, and, you know, not have, you know, these kinds of battles going on. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna head to bed. Okay, team, I hope you're all doing amazing, really enjoying yourselves, having a good week, and enjoying these high vibrations here. I love all of you, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah.